Hey there guys, welcome back to another video where we are continuing to cook through the America's Test Kitchen Cook's Country. I always get stuck.
Yeah, because it's the longest title in the entire world.
Cookbook. Where if you've been following in this series we've been doing, this is actually going to be the final recipe for this cookbook till we go back to Giada's.
Which makes me sad because I feel like this cookbook went by like that.
And it's largely because instead of doing individual things like we did with Giada's, we did basically full meals from this.
So we cooked 3 recipes at a time, which is why we're wearing the same clothes.
Right. But the thing to look forward to when we get back to Giada's, I think we talked about doing desserts and sweets-based things. So
I'm excited.
I'm not a baker, so that should be really interesting. So I know where Joelle has done most of the prep work for the savory stuff. She might make me do a lot of the prep work for the sweets.
And I'll do the fun stuff, like the tasting.
But as Joelle said, we thank you for watching the content, and if you get a chance, check out our social media, which you'll see pop up on the screen there. So take a look at those if you have a chance.
If you haven't already, please subscribe. We'd really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So with that, we are doing a Parmesan Crusted Asparagus.
Yeah, this is a little bit out of our comfort zone. Neither one of us are super huge fans of asparagus, but we thought we would try something a little different and see if maybe we will like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And who doesn't love things that are coated in Parmesan?
Right? Cheese makes everything better.
That's our thought anyway. So, without further ado, let's jump into the recipe and see what we need for this dish.
All right, for this recipe, you will need 2 pounds of 1/2 inch thick asparagus trimmed, 3 ounces of Parmesan cheese grated, which equals 1.5 cups of grated Parm. We will need 3/4 of a cup of panko breadcrumbs, 1 tablespoon unsalted butter, melted and cooled. We went with salted.
Because that's what we do.
We're rule breakers. Oh, that's the butter, never mind. A pinch of cayenne, just a pinch.
6 tablespoons of cayenne.
After the pinch of cayenne, you will need 2 large egg whites and 1 teaspoon of honey and salt and pepper. Just like you need in pretty much every recipe. And that's it.
All right, so let's get right into preparing this recipe.
Here we go.
All right, so to prepare the asparagus, you want to start by lining a rimmed baking sheet with aluminum foil and then spraying it with vegetable oil spray. Then, use a fork, poke holes up and down the stalks of asparagus, toss the asparagus with 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and let stand for 30 minutes on a paper towel lined baking sheet. While that's resting, you can combine 1 cup of Parmesan cheese, the panko breadcrumbs, the butter, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and 1/8 teaspoon of pepper, and cayenne in a bowl. Then transfer 1/2 of the panko mixture to a shallow dish and reserve the remaining mixture. Then, with a stand mixer, or you can do it by hand, which we ended up doing, you want to whip the egg whites and the honey on, it says on medium-low speed if you're using a mixer, until it's foamy. It says it'll take about 1 minute. If you're doing it by hand, it'll take a little bit longer. Then increase the speed to medium-high and whip until the soft peaks form, about 2 to 3 minutes. Scrape into a 13 by 9 inch baking sheet, or baking dish, and toss the asparagus in the mixture. Then work with 1 spear at a time. Dredge 1/2 of the asparagus in the panko and transfer to aluminum foil lined baking sheet. Refill the shallow dish with reserved panko mixture and repeat with the remaining 1/2 of the asparagus. Once that's all done, you want to bake the asparagus until just beginning to brown, 6 to 8 minutes. Sprinkle with the remaining 1/2 cup of Parmesan and continue to bake until the cheese is melted and the panko is golden brown, another 6 to 8 minutes.
All right, guys, so let's give this asparagus a try. It smelled good as we were cooking it.
And I ate some of the crispy cheese off the pan, and it's a little spicy.
Because who doesn't love crispy cheese when it comes off the pan? So let's go ahead and let's dive into this. Just remember, we're gonna rate this on a scale of 1 to 5 based on taste, cost, and ease of cooking. So let's jump right into this and give it a try.
Here we go. Are you ready?
I don't know.
All
Give it
right.
a shot. let's start with taste. They are spicy. What do you think on taste?
I don't think this recipe sold me for asparagus. I think I'm gonna give it a 2.
I was thinking a 2 as well. I think there's only been one time that I've ever had asparagus that I didn't mind it, and I think it was wrapped in bacon.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe if you wrapped it in bacon.
Yeah, this does not sell me on asparagus.
I think though that's just personal preference. I think that, I mean, what vegetable isn't great covered in breadcrumbs and cheese?
Yeah.
But
the fact that it is, and it's still not great.
Right.
Is not a good sign for us anyway, but that is up to you. If you love asparagus, you may really enjoy this.
Yep, I think it's cooked well. I think it's just the right, like it's not mushy, it's not crunchy, it's like a good texture. And that was, I mean, we followed the recipe. So I think that part of it is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so as far as cost goes, I don't remember, what did we pay for the asparagus?
I have no idea.
A few dollars, I think.
I think really though the only inexpensive quote unquote thing is gonna be the Parmesan cheese.
Yeah, I would agree.
Especially if you buy the real stuff, and not like the orange or the green shaker. You know.
Right. Yeah. So, unfortunately, we don't have the receipts for this, so we're not sure exactly cost-wise. I don't think it was much.
No, I don't think it was either.
Maybe $8 if I were to take a guess. When you factor in cheese and the asparagus.
So what would you give it? What would you rate it?
Keeping in mind the taste does kind of play into my decision for this. I'm gonna put it at 3. I think it's middle of the ground. I think it's a lot to spend on the vegetable side, but not overly priced for what you get.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
3 on that as well.
And then ease of, or the difficulty.
I think it's simple.
Yep, I
think,
agree.
Well, I'm gonna rank it a little lower as far as the simplicity because there is the separating of egg whites and the whipping into soft peak, so that makes it a little more difficult than anything else that we've done. So I'm going to put it around a 3 for that, just because of those factors.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So,
I say the same.
All right, well, I hope you guys at least have an idea, if you enjoy asparagus, of something to cook.
And we will insert in here a picture of what the whole meal would look like if you followed along with this video plus the previous 2, so you can see what it would be if you did all 3 recipes together.
Exactly. And once again, guys, thanks so much for tuning in over this series of America's Test Kitchen Cook's Country Cookbook. That is a mouthful.
If you liked it, leave a comment down below because we will get back to it. So if you have any other ideas of things you'd like for us to do out of the book, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks so much for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And we will catch you next time. So take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.